Was a girl running in our group. She had a high-speed motor in a 40 Ford Coupe. She had a racing cam and a supercharged. Look at Buddy, hot rod and large. She's a hot rod. She's a hot rod.
Now, we're going to do this part of the show. We're going to take and we're going to talk about something we haven't talked about for a while. And, well, we talked about it last week, part of it, the antifreeze situation for your car for winter and what to do about it. Now let's talk about some of the silly things, and they're not silly if you ever need them in the winter. Let's start with a battery. I got asked this week by a good friend of mine, Jeff Schweitzer. He's a car builder, car guy, and he's also a jet pilot. But he says, what about batteries? How come they don't last a week? And I said, well, the colder the weather, the more it draws. Every new car has a half a dozen computers on it or more. And there's a milliamp draw on every battery. So if you go out and you buy a crummy battery or a cheap battery, if you buy a $50 or $60 battery, you're asking for trouble. You're asking for trouble. Get you to the bumper store. You can get an Interstate there. You can get an Exide there. You can come to my shop on Limited Service Automotive in Lansing and get a Interstate battery. Exide, you can go get an AC Delco at any AC Delco store. Motorcraft, top of the line battery. Yes, there's only a couple battery makers in this country, and Exide is one of them. Interstate's another, and I think there's one more, Gould or somebody like that. They make them for everybody, and everybody puts their name on them.
No door last? Or what?
God bless that guy that made the Die Hard. The name of the Die Hard. The battery wasn't all that great, but the name Die Hard just made people go, yeah. And they bought them like in herds. I mean, it was crazy. Anyway, the battery, and you want to make sure you get it checked before winter. If it's sketchy, if it doesn't have the full amperage output it should, get rid of it. Get rid of it. You don't know how much grief you can save yourself by on your way to work in the morning, you're running late, you get out and you go, it won't start because it's cold out. Get a good battery. Don't cheap out, and don't cheap out. Don't go to the big box store. Go to Auto Value store, bumper to bumper Auto Value. They've got Interstate batteries. The one in Hammond on Kennedy Avenue has Interstate batteries, got Exide batteries, and he's also got some real cheap ones if you got a junker you're trying to sell. But that's the only way he's going to sell it to you. He's not going to get. They come with like a 2-year warranty, Eric. They're trash, but they get you by. They'll get you by for a while, a week, a two. Get rid of it. Buy the good ones. Don't spare the wallet when you're buying a battery. You get what you pay for in batteries, and that's literally the truth. I mean, you have to buy a good battery. Same way with wipers, windshield wipers. Anco, Valvoline, several good brands out there. Bosch makes a good one. Trico makes a good one. You got to go to your Auto Value store, your bumper to bumper store, and do your shopping, and they will put you in a good wiper blade because they're all different now. You could have an aqua blade, you could have a traditional blade, you could have a flat blade. There are several different blades that your car could have, depending on what it came with. You put the wrong blade on your car, and you're going to think, these things don't wipe for nothing. They're terrible. And you're going to say, well, they're brand new, but that doesn't matter if you bought the wrong thing. If you go to the big box store, those kids don't know. And if you look in their catalog, you're not going to figure it out. The guys with the computers at Bumper to Bumper, Auto Value, they can get you the right wiper blades, the correct wiper blades, for sure. And you won't be saying, these don't wipe for nothing. They're terrible.
So no Rain-X.
No. Well, Rain-X is a gimmick, but I tell you what, everybody I know swears by them that has them. Mm-hmm. I personally don't care for them, but they're not a bad product. I think Bumper to Bumper sells Rain-X too, so they'll put you in a wiper blade and they'll give you all the options and all the prices. I forgot all about Rain-X. Thank you for mentioning that.
You're welcome. See, that's what I'm here for.
And same way with the washers. The washer solvent. Don't go to the lumber yard and buy your washer solvent. Oh my God. I had my poor granddaughter, I love her, but she came last year with frozen wipers or washers. And she goes, Grandpa, I got this great stuff at, I won't say the name of the place, and here it is. It was only good at 10 below. That's all it's good for. They don't sell real wash. It cleans the windshield as long as it's 10 below or warmer. Okay, it wipes the bugs off, does a good job with that, but it freezes, and now nothing works. You got to go again, bumper to bumper auto value. Those guys, why do I say that? Because that's where I buy my parts, because those guys are the best. I don't have any problems, and I don't want, if you're in a shop as busy as mine, that runs anywhere from 100 to 300 cars a week through there. We have done that. We've had 20 cars a day go through there. I mean, it's horrible that it gets so busy, right? Especially right now. You can't use crappy parts because they'll come back to haunt you. And you do the job twice, you lose money on it. So you just don't do it. Okay? You just put on the good stuff and you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Now, does the color of the water for solution thing, does it really make a difference?
Not really. You can put in the purple and you can put in the blue or the pink if you want pink, Eric. But I want you to know you got to check the jug and see what it says. Mm-hmm. And make sure it says good to 35 below. Because when you park outside and if it sits there for more than about 3-4 hours, it can be 35 below with the wind chill. And if it's outside, you're froze. You're done. You're going nowhere. I mean, you're not spraying anything.
So that's like the bare minimum, right? 35. I think that's like the minimum.
Absolutely. Okay. I would say the bare minimum is 25 below.
Bare minimum. Okay.
Bare minimum. Most of them are 30 below, and that's fine. I like 35. I buy the concentrate and mix my own. Mine is like alcohol. It's like pouring booze on a windshield when I'm done. You could drink my washer solvent. It's that good.
I'm okay. I don't want to drink that.
Yeah, you don't want to drink it. Okay. And the other thing I want to tell you, one more thing I'm going to tell you about wipers. And this just galls me. Before, when you start your car and you say, I left my wipers on because I remotely started my car. Well, you probably just ruined something. If they're frozen to the windshield, you don't do that. Leave your wipers off. You don't turn your windshield wipers on until the windshield has got warm and thawed out so the wipers are not stuck to it, okay, or they're not stuck to anything else, because if the wipers are stuck to it, you turn it on, something's got to bend. That wiper motor is a lot stronger than what we call the wiper transmission or the wiper linkage, and it will bend it into a pretzel. Now you're looking at a $300 or $400 repair. Because you didn't unstick your wipers first. If you want to run out there and flip them a couple times and get them unstuck, do that. Then you can turn them on all you want. But there's no reason to turn them on while the windshield's full of ice, unless you're going to scrape it or you're going to turn the defroster on and let it run till they melt. And then the wipers can be on. Then you can, when you get in the car, you can turn them on. Don't leave your wipers on in the winter. Because they're going to try and keep it turned on when you start the car, especially if you start it remotely, and you are going to bend up some goodies. You're going to ruin stuff. If you don't ruin the motor, but you'll probably ruin the linkage. You're going to wipe out the linkage. That's not good. And that's expensive, real expensive. We do a lot of that at our place. Matter of fact, you go to your bumper store, I call them, they've got those wiper transmissions on the shelf, Eric, because so many people don't unstick their wipers before they turn them on. They sell a lot of them. It's sad, but it's just the way it is. Fluids. I want to talk to you about your fluids. I know every time you go to the dealer for that free oil change they owe you or a recall they're doing, they want you to have all brand new fluids. Well, there are intervals in your owner's manual that tell you when it's time to change those fluids. You don't have to change them just because some guy at the dealership needs the business. You change them according to your owner's manual or call a repair shop, a legitimate repair shop, because we don't like changing fluids, but we will because it's part of maintenance. It's a stinky job, but we do it because our customers deserve it and they need it for their vehicle. Certain vehicles got to have it. Brake fluid, power steering fluid, you name it, trans fluid. Of course, trans fluid you don't change now. Most of those go 70 to 100,000 miles. They're really pretty good, pretty tough. But the certain fluids that they want you to change, call me or call somebody you trust and find out exactly, should I be doing this or doing that? Because those fluids, don't change them if you don't have to. Let your tech inspect everything and recommend it. Windshield wiper, we went this, do not roll your windows. There's another one. Don't bend your window regulators. by trying to hit that button to make that window go down a crack. Don't until it's unfrozen. Please. Otherwise, you're going to ruin. There's another $300 repair. Cha-ching, cha-ching. I hear myself going cha-ching, cha-ching. When it's frozen, it's frozen. Leave it be frozen. Wait till it thaws out. Turn your heater on inside. It'll thaw the whole car out before you know it, and you can open anything, you can turn anything on you want. You can play with buttons all you want, but Eric, if you put your window down, you're gonna bend something.
I learned that the hard way. My very first car was a Pontiac Grand Prix, a GT1. But oh my, I love that car.
Yeah.
Right? My second winter with that car, I had somebody on the passenger side. I was taking that car to college. And my car was still kind of cold. It took a while to heat up, right? So this person, I'm not going to say who it is, rolled down my window because it was one of the automatic. All you heard, it didn't go. And then all of a sudden, you just see my window just go,
snap, yeah.
And I'm like.
And now it's down in the door.
Yes.
And now you're freezing.
Oh, my God. That was like the worst one.
Oh, I'll bet. I'm telling you, do not roll that window down. The other thing is belts and hoses. Make sure you get in, get your oil changed for the winter, and check the belts and hoses. The tech knows what to tell you. He can do that with you. Now I'm going to give you a couple of quick tips, just George style. All right? Lock thaw. Little cans of spray lock thaw. They got a little thingy on them, and you spray them in the locks. You keep one of those in your purse or in your pocket, not in the glove box, because it doesn't do you any good there because you can't get in the car. You want to spray, if you get where your locks are froze, you get a sleeting rainstorm or whatever, spray those locks, get a little screwdriver, or you get that little tab and you put it in there, spray the lock, and you can put a key in there and you can get in. If you do my other tip, spray your weather strips on the door, spray those with what they call a silicone spray. If you don't want to go to Bumper Auto Value and buy a can of silicone spray, because it's not cheap and you're only going to use it the one time for every winter though, you can go in the kitchen cabinet and get a can of Pam. Same thing. And spray your weather strips with Pam. I prefer the butter kind with Pam so it smells nice while the car's heating up. I think it's kind of cool. And the trunk too. Do the trunk. You're going to want to get in that trunk. It's going to be frozen. I'm telling you. And the lock thaw, you got to keep that in your pocket on your person so you're ready to go. Not in the car because it doesn't do you any good there. And a snow scraper or brush, of course, you know is in the car, but you got to get in the car first. Get your make sure you got good snow scraper and brush. And then you're off to the races. That's my tip for this week. Next week, we're going under the car. "11 GOP governors from auto states oppose EV tax credit." In other words, auto states are people that have auto manufacturers in their state. 11 Republican governors from states with auto manufacturing and distribution plants are opposing proposed legislation, wow, in the Democrats' massive spending bill that would give consumers an extra incentive to buy union-made electric vehicles. In a letter sent Wednesday to U.S. House and State and Senate lawmakers, the governors said they are deeply concerned that Congress is considering legislation that gives union labor a competitive advantage over non-union labor. And this is in the EV market. This is that argument for a union, non-union, which I have no side in. By putting certain vehicles at a cost disadvantage, the legislation works against our states, undercuts our residents, and negatively impacts the U.S. economy, they wrote. Congress should not enact proposals that favor vehicles produced by one workforce over another, particularly when doing so dramatically limits consumer choice and undermines larger carbon emission reduction goals. In other words, and I tell you, this is all about the union, and I when I say I don't have a dog in that fight, I don't. I respect the union training, and the union trained employees are the best. They are the ones that put together the best cars, I'm sure, and blah, blah, blah. That's what I like about a union. What I don't like about a union is the fat cats and the way and especially after this last scandal where they took millions of dollars from the training budget and built cabins and bought boats and golf trips. And so they, them and the executives from the car makers plus the union fat cats, they didn't represent their people. And the people that are part of the union pay their dues they deserve. First of all, they deserve all the benefits they get, and they deserve the ongoing education that it takes to build these stinking cars. Come on. So you want people that are union made and union trained, but you don't necessarily want to negotiate with the union fat cats, and that's where the rub is here. That's the whole deal. They're making it so that you have to. You're giving the union guys a leg up when it's not right to do that. Not in America. Every state is different, and every state, but they're all part of America. And every man, woman, and child that works in the car business, no matter what state they're in, deserves the same break as everybody else. And that's just the way it goes. And if the manufacturer that you're talking about is non-union, well then get that union in there and organize those people and get that straightened out so everybody's got great benefits and training. If the fat cats don't steal the money while they're negotiating all this crazy crap. I'm just telling you, I don't have a dog in this fight. I got both sides. I see both sides of this, and there's sides I like and sides I don't. And I don't envy those guys having to deal with the union fat cats and their thieving ways. But I do know that I want my car made by a union labor, trained union labor. As if the training money isn't all gone. All right, Ford executive. Was that a rant? Was that legitimately a rant, Eric? A little one?
A little bit. A little rant.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, then keep the pills. I don't need any glycerin pills yet. Ford Motor Company sees a robust market for electric trucks and vans by 2030. Well, yeah, but it is facing some pushback from commercial customers that are key audience for the automaker's new F-150 Lightning and E-Transit. A top executive said this on Thursday for Ford. The Lightning pickup and E-Transit van are targeted at real people doing real work, said Ted Canis, CEO of Ford Pro, at the Reuters Events Automotive Summit. But some of these potential fleet buyers are taking a wait-and-see attitude. Well, that's got to happen. Partly a lack of experience with electric vehicles, and partly from a lack of clarity on government policy and regulations around those electric vehicles. There you go. That's another thing that has to get this whole thing needs to sweep it up and start over again. In the U.S., we see 70% of the full-size bus and van industry going electric by 2030. Oh, yeah. That's more than 300,000 vehicles annually. And we expect a third of the full-size pickup market to go all electric by 2030. That's more than 800,000 vehicles annually. So, you know what? It's time to get this going. I mean, why is the government dragging their feet on regulations? And maybe it's because it's a new field and they don't know. Maybe they're clueless. I can understand where the senators and congressmen need lots of information to study to see if this is going, or they just have their handler, the guy that pays for their PAC, tell them which way to vote.
I think that's that one.
I think that's how that goes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's how it's going to go, trust me.